Waking up one morning and looking at myself in the mirror, and I said, "Are you proud of the woman you've become?"
Hmm.
And that was a really and I said it out loud in the mirror. And I like to tell this to people, when you're really looking for answers, you don't have to ask advice to anybody because you have the answers within you.
Mm-hmm.
You want the answer to something, you go to the mirror and you have a conversation with yourself because you can't lie to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So true.
You really can't. So sometimes we seek advice from the wrong people in the wrong places, and then we make the wrong decisions, and then we try to.
Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I am your host, Angela Duncan. I am super excited. I know I've said that before, but today marks my 100th episode of Empower Her Money. So this is an incredible milestone, and I thought it would be appropriate to interview and celebrate with this woman because Empower Her Money brand actually came out of a networking mastermind I did with Melitsa Waage. She put on for a group of amazing women here in Miami. But Melitsa Waage is the founder of Epic Talks, which is the #1 networking event in Miami. She has an incredible event that interviews and has panels with relevant topics and the most professional network that I attend here in Miami. So excited to interview Melitsa Waage on today's podcast. I hope you enjoy. Hello, Melitsa. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be on the Empower Your Money podcast.
Awesome. Well, I would love for you to share your story with our audience.
Okay. What exactly would you like to know?
How did you get to what you're doing today?
Okay, so just to share a little bit of my background, I was a foster child. I was born into heroin-addicted parents. I was in the foster care system, and I've always loved to look at my life from a place of not victim, but being a victor of my circumstances. So I always knew I was destined for greatness. I always knew that I was unique. I always knew that God had purpose in my life. And I just went for it. You know what I mean? Like the odds were stacked against me, and I know that God has always had my back. So I was just like, whatever I dream of, I know I can accomplish. And I've done that. You know, I've been on my own since I was 15. I was born into heroin addicted parents. You know, my mother was a heroin addict who became a minister, and then my father was a heroin addict who died last year of a heroin overdose. You know, so if you really think about it, the choices that you decide to make, my mom made the decision that she was going to change her life and help people change their lives, and my father unfortunately wasn't able to overcome that. You know, and I'm creating a legacy for my family, and wanting them to, you know, really be proud of that. It doesn't matter where you come from, you can create greatness in your life, you know. And it was in the moment of disparity where I decided that I wanted to start Epic Talks in one of my darkest moments of my life. You know, I actually went into a dark hole after a really difficult divorce. My ex-husband cheated on himself, so you know, I had the strength to pull that off and really overcome that pain. And but I did lose myself for like 2 years. I was partying like a rock star. I was hanging around with the wrong people. You know, I was trying new drugs. And I remember waking up one morning and looking at myself in the mirror, and I said, "Are you proud of the woman you've become?" And that was a really and I said it out loud in the mirror. And I like to tell this to people, like, when you're really looking for answers, you don't have to ask advice to anybody because you have the answers within you.
Mm-hmm.
You want the answer to something, you go to the mirror and you have a conversation with yourself, because you can't lie to yourself.
So
You know what I mean?
true.
You really can't. So sometimes we seek advice from the wrong people in the wrong places, and then we make the wrong decisions, and then we try to, blame others for our decisions. No, it's all within you, and within you, meaning God has the answers for you, because I truly believe that God lives within you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, great advice.
So I remember asking myself that question. And no, I spoke to myself out loud. No, I'm not happy of the woman you've become. So what are you going to do about it? Okay, I'm going to change my life. That's what I said. And I remember in that moment, it was in that day or the next couple of days that I saw an ad on Facebook that said, reignite your life, your finances, and your future, free ticket. And I was like, free ticket? That must be like a cult or something, So then I contacted a girlfriend of mine, Alexi Panos. I think I called her, and she's a motivational speaker, her and her husband, Preston Smiles. And I said, Alexi, have you ever heard of this company called Peak Potentials by T. Harv Eker from The Millionaire Mind? She goes, no, but if there's one positive thing that you get out of it, it's a win situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and now the business that we do, collaborating, connecting, showing up to events, adding value to people. Now that makes sense. Back then it didn't, but I took a leap of faith. So where's your faith? Right? I took a leap of faith. I'm like, Lord, I want to change my life. Like, what do you have for me? And I booked my flight, I booked my ticket, and I got my free ticket to that event. Did I end up investing almost $10,000 at the end of the event, 10 years ago? Yes, I did. But that took me on a 2-year journey of self-discovery, self-development, emotional intelligence, and connecting with other people that wanted the same as me to level up. At the end of the day, you don't want to stay stagnant. You want to grow, right? You don't want to stay where you're at. You want to elevate. And every new level is going to experience a new devil. You know what I mean? So once you get to a certain level, then you want more. Well, I do. You know what I mean? I want greatness. I want to help. I want to support. I want to impact people's lives in a way, millions of lives. You know what I mean? So that takes a lot of responsibility. That comes with a lot of responsibility. And yeah, so I went through that journey of leaving my husband. I lost myself. I found emotional intelligence. I made it my religion. And I was in medical sales at the time, in orthopedic sales. And I was just tired of it, because I feel like these doctors were treating my patients, their patients, like a number. And I remember the patients would tell me, oh my God, you treat me better than the doctor, because I really cared about them. I would call them, I would go to their house, I'd massage them, as I'm giving them their treatment. And it was just not fulfilling anymore. And I remember I moved to Miami, and I was walking over the bridge. I was going to networking events, and I was leaving unfulfilled. I'm like, oh my God, these people just giving me their business cards. Hey, if you need anything, here I am. I'm like, never asking me, hey, what do you need? How can I support you? So I remember I was going to leave Miami, because all the motivational speakers were in San Diego or Los Angeles or, Texas. And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to leave here. And I was walking over the bridge here in Brickell. You know where I live. You know the bridge I'm talking about. And I said to myself, well, if it doesn't exist, I'm going to create it. So from the moment I had my first event, from the moment I had the idea of my first event to the moment I had my first event was only 3 days. Like Grant Cardone says, success loves speed, right? Yeah. You know that. So success loves speed. And I printed out 100 flyers. I reached out to a girlfriend of mine who's a law professor in the University of Miami. Her name's Alicia Belchenko. And I'm like, Alicia, if I throw an event, will you be a speaker? It's going to be like a mastermind. I want to share my story. I feel like I have an impact. She thought I was BSing her. She's like, sure. I was like, send me a picture. So I took a picture of her. I took a picture of me. I went onto Canva. I created our first little flyer. At the time, it was called Epic Life Masters. And I printed 100 flyers. I passed them all over downtown, all over Brickell. And in 3 days, I had my first event, and I just waited. I rented a ballroom. I waited. I got some, bottles of wine and cheese and crackers. and some pen and paper and these little pamphlets from the dollar store. And and I waited. 15 people showed up to my first event. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care if it would have been one person. If I can impact one person, that creates a domino effect. Because if I impact their life, they're going to go and impact someone else's life. So then 15 people, 8 of them were my friends. So that's why it's important to have supportive friends. And so yeah, and then I remember sharing my story and I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. And that's when Epic Talks was born. Then my second event, I ended up reaching out to other influencers. Hey, you guys want to come and speak on my stage? They were like, yes. They brought their people. My second event had 120 people. And Epic Talks just became a phenomenon, which is now, as you know, the #1 entrepreneurship event in Miami that happens monthly for those of you that are listening to this amazing Empower Your Money podcast, right? And what I love about Angela, she takes action. You know, she came into the Epic Talks community and, you know, we've been together in a couple of masterminds and she was like, I want to create an event. I want to create a podcast and I want to write a book. She did all of this in like 3, 4, 5 months. Okay. So just like I was saying, success loves speed, take action. And she's been an inspiration to me and she's part of my community and just adding so much value to everybody. I freaking love you.
Yeah, well, that's a testament. Like, you surround yourself with people doing great things, and you know you're going to be great as well. So with Epic Talks, #1 networking event in Miami, what do you think kind of sets you and the events apart from other networking events? Because we know there's tons in the area, but yours is incredible. You have a lot of people who are attending and they come regularly. What do you think that you've done differently that makes it so successful?
I care about people.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just a number to me. You're a person with feelings, with dreams, with emotions, with, you know, wanting to be heard, wanting to make a difference. And that's the difference. I'm not just a transaction. You know, these events that I see like Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Patrick Bet-David, they're amazing. And they're creating massive impact in people's lives. And I so respect them. And I know I will be there one day. The beautiful thing about Epic Talks is that it happens every single month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're not, oh, you know, last event Patrick had was 3 months ago. Grant Cardone 4 months ago, like the big ones, Tony Robbins a year ago. You know, the beautiful thing about Epic Talks is that when you come to Epic Talks community, it feels like a family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, you start seeing these familiar faces and then people are like, hey, I need support with this. I'm starting not to do this so much, but I'm very generous with my number because I really want to help people. But connecting people, I ask them, hey, what do you need? What do you need support with? And how can I help you finish this year strong? Or what is a connection that you need? You know, and then obviously we have the Epic Talks private membership, which you are an inner circle member. And, you know, this is a community where we have dinners, we have adventures, you get access to other events because you're part of the Epic Talks community and we see each other every single month. That's what differentiates Epic Talks and myself to everybody else because I really care. You're not just a number.
Yeah. And so one of the things that you had said earlier, as we were just about to start recording, you said, I get to say no. So as you grow a company and you become successful, a lot of people are going to be asking for your time. They're going to want you to go to different things and events and help them with this and, you know, part of their business too. Well, you're only one person. So talk about what that means to you that I get to say no and how that really does help your community when you say no.
For me, I'm being vulnerable right now for those of you listening. I tend to be a yes person. Mm-hmm. Why do I say yes so much? Because I was told no for so long. Mm-hmm. You know, when I was a little girl, know this, know that. And I just knew how painful that would feel. Right. But it's different. So I can't take that story of me in my childhood being told no so much that now I'm just saying yes to everything because now I'm sabotaging myself by saying yes to so many things. Mm-hmm. And this year, because I want to support, I want to help so much, I was saying yes to everything that I ended up shooting myself in the foot a couple times and dropping the ball in some areas because I wasn't gauging the time that I had. Mm-hmm. Or that I have, you know what I mean? So yeah. And now the reason I'm saying no is to protect myself and give myself the time that I need in order to create what I need to create, which is a legacy and an empire that everybody is in love with, that everybody gets to be a part of, that people won't forget. Because when you come to Epic Talks, you won't forget how you feel, because you feel welcomed, you feel loved there, you know? So that's the reason I'm saying no, is because of the love that I have for my own community.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. Saying yes to the right opportunities helps you grow. The more you grow, the more you can provide to your community. And so they have to understand that when you say no to certain things, it's because you're in growth mode and you want to provide huge value to people. So you just can't say yes to everything. So
Absolutely.
I like that. So what's in store for you going forward? 2024, what does that look like now that you've been through this year? You shot yourself in the foot, said yes to so many opportunities. What do you see Epic Talks going in the future?
So I don't think I've shared this with you yet, but I am launching Epic Talks 2.0. That's gonna happen this coming Wednesday. I have a super surprise, like, for Inner Circle, and just more opportunities for my Inner Circle community for learning and collaborating, implementing different strategies, different ideas, creating the dinners that we have now more like masterminds instead of just gathering and talking. These dinners are going to be intentional. They've always been intentional, but this one is going to be like, we're going to have like kind of like a workflow. You know what I mean? Like, everybody gets to share where they're at once a month. It's going to be like a Napoleon Hill mastermind. My goal for Epic Talks in the next 5 years is to have my own headquarters, where it's going to be a co-working space, event space, podcasting space, where it's the Epic Talks community, where if you wanted to host an event, Angela, you don't have to worry about spending $5,000, $10,000, because Epic Talks headquarters is going to give that to you for free because you are a member of the community. You know what I mean? So, and then I want there to be like classes and courses like Success Mondays, like Finance Tuesdays with Angela Duncan, you know, tax Wednesdays with Edward Collins. You know what I mean? Like all these breakout sessions, and then have food, you know, where if people want to have lunch there or breakfast there, that's available as well. So a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs, that's my vision for Epic Talks.
And I love that too, because, you know, similar to you, I work from home most days. And there are days where I just want to get out to be able to collaborate with people during the day, but also have my laptop. So to be able to have like a working space where people go, because there are a lot of working spaces, but I've been to them, they're empty during the day. So to create that community where your community can go, we can collaborate, but we can also work in peace and quiet, you know, so that I like that mix of that. And so you touched briefly on Napoleon Hill. I know you've got a big event coming up. So let's talk about that. What is it and what's the vision for that event?
Okay, so we do have, I like to call it the Mastermind of the Seas with the Napoleon Hill Institute. Dining Divas, we are going to be featured on the Travel Channel. I'm super freaking excited about that. Being featured on the Travel Channel for first time for Epic Talks. And we are going to be masterminding with the leaders of the Napoleon Hill Institute, which is Don Green, he's the president, Cleona Harris, who's the president of the Think and Grow Rich Institute here in the United States. We do have a couple celebrity names that might be coming. We're still waiting on that. But imagine yourself on the ocean, taking a cruise to Mexico with 70 incredible entrepreneurs, leaders, movers, shakers, people with vision, and you get to mastermind, but not only mastermind, but have adventures with them as well. So that's happening January 11th to January 15th. So anybody who's part of listening to this, I am willing to give a $500 discount voucher. You can go ahead and share the link. I'll send you the link so you can share it with your community. And this is something you won't want to regret. And this doesn't happen every single year, every single month. Like, take advantage of this.
Yeah. So mastermind while vacationing. And for those of us in Miami, that I feel like every event I go to is a fashion show. So it'd be nice to like dress down a little bit, have some fun, and it's a tax write-off for business owners. And you get to mastermind with some people doing incredible stuff from all over the world. So definitely check out the cruise. I'm excited for that as well. So talk a little bit more about how you structure, like how do you decide what your next event is going to look like? Since you are doing this monthly, how are you determining, what is it, like a hot topic? Is someone, sharing ideas with you? How do you determine what's the next event going to look like and how you can serve your community through that event?
I always pay attention to what people are talking about, so when crypto was hot, I had 3, crypto metaverse events last year, right? Right now, artificial intelligence is hot. And let me tell you something, artificial intelligence isn't going on anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, we just created an Epic Talks an Epic Talks GPT, an Epic Talks bot, where you can literally go to it and ask it anything about Epic Talks, and it will tell you who we are, when the events are, the people, the speakers, who's next, what's coming up, the website, how to dress, like everything. I'm actually really proud of that. And so artificial intelligence, also teaching people how to build their own networks. At the end of the day, your network is your net worth. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't have Epic Talks if it wasn't for my network. You know what I mean? And I want to teach people how to capitalize on throwing their own events, and how I can support them with them. And you know how much work it takes, Angela. You just had your first one. You're like, I don't know if I want to do this again.
Yeah, I was like,
I do this every month, like probably 2 to 3 times in different aspects, like dinners and, but it's worth it. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for Epic Talks, I wouldn't have the connections that I have today. And the connections that I have today, like, have changed my life. Like, you've become a great friend of mine. I consider you a sister. I trust you with my life. Agnieszka, Lauren, Kristen, like all these incredible people. People are finding love at Epic Talks. You know what I mean? You get to create that for people as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you have like a specific formula that you kind of teach when it comes to networking, because a lot of times people can go to networking events and they're not intentional. So if you were to give advice to someone who does go to networking events, how do they become more intentional with those events to make sure that they're not wasting their time, but hopefully generating business and finding connections as well?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. Becoming more intentional, make it more about the other person and not you. Okay. So I walk into a room. Sometimes I like to piggyback with a girlfriend or a guy friend. And we separate each other. Hey, I want you to go around the room, introduce yourself, and always come from a place of service. Hey, my name is Melitsa Waage. We haven't met. What's your name? Immediately they're like, oh my God, they feel important because she wants to meet me. You know what I mean? She wants to talk. Oh, my name is, let's use Brett, for example, because Brett has given me a good couple of ideas, like networking questions. This is actually one of his. Oh, we haven't met yet. What's your name? Oh, my name is Brett Kaufman. So what are you working on right now? What's got you excited? When you ask people like, what's got you excited? I'm like, oh my God, Epic Talks. I have like the best entrepreneurship event right now. Plus we're having a mastermind, right? So once you get people to start talking about themselves within the first 60 seconds, they're going to be talking about themselves. And now they start trusting you because all they're doing is talking about stuff. Oh, okay. So, that project sounds so amazing. So if it's something similar to what you're doing, oh my goodness, we need to connect because I'm doing something similar. Or if it's not, I have a friend that's doing this. Everybody knows somebody that's doing something, you know what I mean? So then ask them more about themselves. Okay, so how do you need support with this project? What would you say is your biggest need? Boom. My biggest need is bringing new bodies into my community so people can expand their network.
Yeah.
Right? That's my biggest need. I mean, I tell the inner circle that all the time. So we don't have to see the same faces. Let's bring in new faces for more impact and collaboration, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden, you tell me your biggest need. Okay, now you ask them like 2 major questions. You know what? I think I could help you. Let's go ahead and connect right now. Pull up your social media, have a QR code where they scan it, your phone number, information, your email, Instagram, everything pops up. Boom. All right. So then take a picture. Hey, let's take a picture together. Text it to them so you don't forget who they are when they text you. The next day, the follow-up with a video. Angela, I met you yesterday at Epic Talks. It was so freaking amazing to meet you. I know you mentioned, that you're having your own events, you're launching a book and a podcast. I want to support you. Send me the information about your own event. If I can make it, I will definitely be there. Send me the link to your book so I can purchase it right now. And I look forward to staying connected, right? Then you go, if there's an event that's coming up that you're going to go to. Also, I wanted to let you know about this event that's coming up, Empower Her Money. I think I could get you a free ticket. But if I can't, I still think that you should come with me. Let's collaborate and let's make connections together so we can impact each other's lives. I'll look forward to hearing from you. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. And that takes like less than a minute to send a video. And then they remember you by that. So if you meet 5 people, you can find 5-10 minutes in your day to send a video.
You go above and beyond. When you go above and beyond for people, you are remembered, because 99.9% of the people don't do that for you.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how many people a couple days before my event, they're like, hey Mel, oh my God, I see you're having this Epic Talk. I want to come and support you. Can I get a free ticket?
No, the event didn't cost you money.
You're going to come and support me. Can I get a free ticket? How about they're like, hey Mel, I see you have Epic Talks coming up. I have 4 people buying tickets. Do you mind comping me because I got these 4 people?
Yeah.
Yes. Don't reach out to me saying that you're going to come support me. You're asking me for a fucking free ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways,
good.
That's that.
All right. So I have a fun question for you. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
My superpower would be giving the energy to people to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Majority of people take their dreams to the grave. And I always like to say that the richest place on earth is the grave. Why? Because there's where dreams are lying dead, because they didn't have the courage to believe in themselves enough to create greatness in their lives. They believed in what their parents said. They believed in what their friends said. They believed in what they told themselves. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't do that. I was, a foster child. I was abused. I was hit. I was beat. My teachers told me this. No. God doesn't give you a vision that you can't execute. Imagine I would have said, because I was a foster child born into heroin addicted parents, I'm going to live in this shell, in this little cocoon, and I'm not going to believe in myself enough to become a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, a radio show host, a fitness champion. And I'm not just saying this from a place of vanity. I'm saying this from a place to inspire whoever's listening to this. Mm-hmm. Because when you tell yourself that you can't do something, guess what's going to happen? Yeah. You're going to live in your setback and you're going to die in your setback. When you tell yourself and you water your soul, you water your mind, and you surround yourself with the right people, and you go to the right events, and you meet people like Angela, and you're listening to podcasts like Empower Your Money, your life is going to change.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Melitsa, if our audience wants to get in touch with you, how is the best way for them to reach you?
Best way, look me up on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Melitsa Waage. Spell my name, Melitsa Waage. Also my event name, Epic Talks Miami, on Instagram, Epic Talks Miami. And I do want to gift something to your audience, if that's okay with you, Angela.
Absolutely.
So for those of you that are listening to this podcast for the first time, I'm going to gift the people in Miami a free ticket to the next event after they listen to this podcast. All they have to do is message you on your Instagram, or message me and say, Empower Your Money podcast. It's a $147 ticket. So I'm gifting that. Why? Because I'm coming from a place of service to transform your life. And that's how you build a network.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being my 100th episode of Empower Her Money podcast. I so appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you do, all the connections. I love your event. So if you're in Miami, you definitely have to check it out. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Angela. Congratulations on the 100th episode.
Thank you so much for tuning into Empower Her Money podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, share this podcast, and leave a review wherever you are tuning in.